Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. We got Sonny down here making all kinds of noise. There he is. Look at that.
Oh,
He got a haircut. Yeah,
Oh.
it's hard to tell he's a Shih Tzu right now. He's like, yeah, you're still a Shih Tzu. Don't worry. So what we're going to talk about today, folks, I just got a question on Instagram. Yes, I have an Instagram page. It's called One Rental at a Time. I do my best to respond to everyone, but sometimes when the timing is right, I have my friends answer the questions. But before we do, let's welcome them to the show. Dion, how you doing?
Howdy, Zoo. We're doing great. Ready for round one.
Yes. And Matt, how are you?
I'm super pumped to be here. Thursdays are always a good time.
Oh, totally agree. We all get this question. We've probably answered this question individually and together dozens of times, but let's do it again right now. Hello, I am looking to start my real estate investing journey in New Jersey. What advice can you give for my first property purchase? My goal is to eventually get 10K a month. Thank you very much. Dion, we'll go to you first.
Well, that actually hits on a couple of things. And so I appreciate when somebody reaches out and you can tell that they're new. And that's the new person question.
Yep.
In some ways, the first education is understanding that's not the right question.
Correct.
The I want to get to 10,000 is really vague and hard to hit. It's not something you could say, these are the actionable steps to take to get to that. But the question on what to do with first, I think 2 out of the 3 of us are probably going to say the same thing. Especially in New Jersey, where prices are high, taxes are high. If you can figure out a way to add house hacking to your strategy, either buying a place where you rent out rooms or buying a place that you then intend to rent out after you move in a year, or buying a house with an ADU or a small multifamily or a split level house and separating the living areas, or a house with a basement that you build out into an apartment. But some way, when you start investing in real estate, of figuring out how to reduce or eliminate your housing expense, it's the easiest way to really add to our savings rate. When starting out, there's an order of operations, a few steps that you can do before you get into actually making deals. And there's a lot of things you do before you even talk to an agent. So to get to that first rental, here's my advice. Learn how to save. Figure out how to live on less than you make. It doesn't matter how much it is, get a number, because once you have a number, if it is, what is it called? If it's monitored, it can be increased. My brain shut off right at the right moment.
That's all right.
But figure out what that savings rate is. Start working on your credit score. The goal is for a 740 or better, but you can start buying in the 600s. You can even do it lower than that with an FHA. The goal should be 740 for the best rates. Once you've worked on that and you figured out how to save and you've worked your credit score, then you're going to talk to a lender. The lender is going to explain a lot of your limits. So that would be my starting advice, continuing with the self-education of watching content like this, where a lot of the concepts just start to become subconscious and you'll actually start making decisions that really have a big impact on your journey.
All right, Matt, follow that. Good luck.
Thanks, Dion. You took all my answers. I mean, the only thing that I would add to that is I wouldn't pick a different state. Jersey is like probably like you've made California work, and kudos to you. I mean, good for you. But Jersey, like, are you joking? Like top 3 highest tax income, top 3, I think in property tax as well. Like they get you from every single angle and then some. And then when they feel they haven't taxed you enough, they come up with another tax that they can tax you with. So obviously the thing that I would say is most important in my eyes in that type of a market is because you're playing with big boys there. Anybody that's coming to the table there is going to have a lot of money, and you might not have a lot of money. So the only thing that I would really focus on there is, most importantly, is get comfortable with the idea of house hacking.
Yeah.
And really, really, really understand the market that you're about to jump into, because that is there's obviously New Jersey's a big state. Obviously, there's lots of markets within that market. But if you're talking like New York Metro, like, across the bridge, pucker up, buttercup. It's a lot. I mean, you need to get familiar with the idea that house hack is probably the best way to do that.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. The only other thing I'll add on top of that, because those are all perfect answers, is oftentimes you got to slow down to go fast. Yeah. A lot of new investors come in, I call them shooting stars, full of piss and vinegar, and they feel like they're making no progress in 7 seconds. And it's like, Jesus, it takes 3, 4, 5 years to get any kind of inertia going. So slow down, drop the pressure. Don't feel like you have to do everything yesterday. Don't feel like you're behind because someone else is ahead of you. Just stop it. Do the work, focus one day at a time, make today better than yesterday. You're going to be okay. Lower the thermostat, lower the pressures. I get all these newbie questions, especially once I saw the 10 grand. I'm like, oh, that's somebody else's number. Like Dion said, it's like nobody's magically needs 10 grand. It's $4,786 or whatever it is.
A range. It's at least a range. Like,
yeah,
even for me at my, where we're at, it's okay. We want to be between 10 and 11.5 just because of the variability of what might be in our month. But it's a range. It's in that range of like $1,500. But to your point, yeah, it's not usually 10,000.
Yeah. What I would tell you is slow down to go fast, learn your market, pick one, focus, learn average. It's the stuff I talk about endlessly, but the big one kind of is slow down to go fast, because too many of you are so, I meet them all the time. It's like their 7th meetup in 4 days. They spent 6 hours on Bigger Pockets. They've listened to, they didn't sleep last night because they got lost in YouTube University. I'm like, you're going to burn out and you're going to get nowhere. And then you're going to think real estate doesn't work because it didn't work in 7 days. I'm like, oh my God. So
Mike, they gave it a week.
Come on. It's got to work.
Listen, slow is smooth and smooth is fast, number one. And number two, and just as important, is I've won my last 4 deals and I wasn't the number 1 priced and I wasn't the number 2 priced. So that's got to tell you something.
Yeah.
It's not only about price. And that's usually the biggest mistake that newbies make, is they think it's about price, and it just isn't. It's certainly part of it, but we've had every single one of those deals come back and tell us we got offered more. We had 2 offers, 3 offers, or 4 offers that were all more than you, but we like how you wrote your deal. We like how clean it was, and we like how easy and transparent it was.
Yeah.
Since we're talking really to the newbie investor that wants to get $10,000 a month in rental income, you must understand that it is not always only about price.
There you go. Dion, you were going to say something?
Yeah. So a final thought from me. The question, but take the 10,000 to the side. It doesn't hurt to have a goal, but figure out why that goal exists. But how to get to that first rental. And this is something that I take away from law enforcement. I was a police officer till 2008, which is for about 8 years. Don't pick a strategy and think, okay, so I want single family house, or I want duplex, or I want whatever that strategy is. And then think, okay, I live in this part of New Jersey, I'm going to use that strategy here. You can't do that. A police officer can't walk onto a scene and think, I think this happened. Now let me look for the evidence that backs up my theory. Right. You have to look at the evidence and then think, okay, so based on the evidence, this is what I think is happening. And when the evidence changes, you change your theory. So look at your local market. Somebody is successfully investing there. What strategy is working? Is it in some areas in the country, single family houses outperform small multifamily? In my area, that's not the case. So you shift to what makes sense there and then develop your strategy based on that. So look at your market, figure out what's going to work with your resources and your specific story. Because while someone else is investing there successfully, you might be coming from a different place than them. But don't have a decision and force it into the market. Yeah. Figure out that market and then learn what the average is and go for those good or great deals there based on the strategy that works. Very cool. Dion, how can people find you? Right here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom. Awesome. And Matt? Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube and Instagram. Lumberjack Landlord on Instagram. I'm posting every day. You are. I've been watching. It's exhausting. I have to have a lot of stuff go on and break. Yeah, you can actually post wins. You don't only have to post busted pipes. Yeah, I think we posted a win. We actually posted a win. So I heard that advice in the past. So we actually posted a win today, which was nice. The before and after. Yeah. Very cool. I did see that. The floors looked gorgeous. Thank you. Yes, folks. So again, one rental at a time. We will do our live stream 8 a.m. Saturday. I so rarely talk about it. Might as well slide that in there. Well, thanks, guys. Look forward to episode number 2. Thanks, Mike. Yeah.